Put on your fake eyelashes and tease up your hair. It's time to talk about Priscilla, the latest from Sofia Coppola. We feel kind of differently about this movie, I think. But Alonso will tell you about it.
What's your name?
Priscilla Boyer.
You like Elvis Presley?
Of course.
It makes as much sense for Sofia Coppola to do the Priscilla Presley movie as it did for Baz Luhrmann to make the Elvis movie. Like, it's very much, these are the wheelhouses we're talking about.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, this is based on Priscilla's memoir about being a teenager in Germany. Her dad was in the military, and meeting a young recruit named Elvis Presley, getting drawn into his orbit, and the two of them having a romance while she is still like 15, 16 years old.
14 when she met him.
14 when they meet, yes. I'm talking about like the years pass.
Yes.
And eventually she goes to Graceland. She winds up living there for like her senior year of high school. It's kind of weird to be in high school and everybody knows you're living at Elvis's house, so she doesn't exactly make a lot of friends. They get married, and he is Elvis, and he's going to Hollywood and making crappy movies, and he's on the road, and he's, seeing other women, and he's living a life and doing all these things, and she is kind of stuck at home. And this is, in a way, it's a portrait of what a lot of American women had to endure in the 50s and 60s, just in terms of what were considered societal gender roles. But then it's also very specifically about this thing of being in this hothouse environment where you can't even play with your dog in the front yard of your house because tourists are looking through the gate. It is so much of a piece with what I like to call the Sofia Coppola ensconced woman movie.
Totally.
Going all the way back to Virgin Suicides,
Totally.
And The Beguiled and Nowhere or No Anywhere, Somewhere.
Elle Fanning is stuck at the Chateau Marmont in Somewhere, and Lost in Translation has that too.
Absolutely, yeah. So I think it's a perfect fit of material and creator, and it really worked for me. I loved just all the period detail of it.
Totally.
It was just yummy yum. Yes, I know there are disputes over the veracity of Priscilla Presley's version of this, but when you're the last one standing, you get to tell the story. So, and I think the movie doesn't go out of its way to demonize Elvis. I think it kind of understands that he's also in this weird, precarious position where he can't lead a normal life. He has his entourage around him, and he's got the colonel breathing down his neck, and he just, it's a weird life to have. Obviously, there's going to be problems in that relationship and trying to work out what it's like to live in that world. Yes, there are drugs and there are other things. But again, I don't think the movie really paints Elvis in a negative light. I think it's just like he's doing his stuff and in a weird time in history, and she's caught up in that, and it just didn't work out between the two of them. So I was riveted, and I think that we haven't even talked about it. The lead performances are so great. Cailee Spaeny as Priscilla, this is a woman who has learned very early on when to speak and when not, and she makes those silences count. She delivers a lot with the looks that she gives. And then Jacob Elordi as Elvis, coming on the heels of the Elvis we just got last year. Any actor would have to be like nervous about taking this on, but I think really finds a human core to this icon and is super magnetic and really charming, but also, when necessary, off-putting and a little terrifying. It worked for me.
Cailee Spaeny is awesome in this. And she really is, I think, the best part of this, because as you say, like the camera watches her watching everything else, and she indicates so much and is so believable as a 14-year-old girl, all the way to being, I believe she's 29 at the end of the film. And every step of the way, her evolution is so believable, and she really anchors it and is our conduit and brings us along. And just the look on her face is so subtle. Like when she first sees Elvis, when we first see her even at the coffee shop on the base, she looks so youthful and so wide-eyed and so impressionable. And then, like, by the second time she's in the backseat of the car heading to Elvis's house, there's like a secret smile, and you can see that she has like gained confidence and gained maturity just in this little period of time. And in the most subtle ways, she indicates that to us. I mean, like the costume design. Stacey Batat did the costume design, and like every dress is perfect, and that tells a story as far as how she evolves from being a schoolgirl to being, Elvis's wife. They recreated, those iconic photos of that wedding with like the arch of the flowers and all that, and the dress and the hair and the makeup design is all just perfect. Philippe
The first time she has her hair dyed, it's like a superhero origin story.
Yeah, right. Because he's so controlling of her. He wants her to look like that. He tells her how to do her eyeliner. He tells her how to do her hair and all that. And so that's how he is one of the many, many ways that he controls her here. But like Philippe Lesour's cinematography, he also shot The Beguiled and On the Rocks. I want to say this has been her DP for a while here. Creates this feeling that it's like gauzy, hazy, and kind of dreamlike. But increasingly, it's like he makes you feel like you're slogging through molasses, like intentionally so, because her existence is so
a trap.
She's trapped, right? She's so stagnant, and she's clearly got ideas and a personality that wants to burst through, and a life of her own that she wants to have. She wants to work at the boutique in town. She doesn't want to do anything big. She doesn't want to write songs. She doesn't want to go on the road with them. She wants to just like have a nice little life of her own and play with the dog in the yard and all that. So in subtle ways, this really works for me. And I do like all those other Sofia Coppola movies that you're talking about, Somewhere and Virgin Suicides, and Marie Antoinette's got an element of this as well.
For sure, yeah.
I like all of that. And I wonder what it is about that tension that she keeps wanting to explore. What is it about that story that she keeps needing to tell, I wonder?
I think there's something about growing up as Francis Coppola's kid that you're probably stuck in a lot of hotels. That's an obvious theory, but I'm sticking to it. I mean, you can even go back to her very first screenplay credit, which is Life Without Zoe. Life Without Zoe, the segment of New York Stories that Francis Coppola directed, which is this very Eloise-y story about a girl living in the Plaza Hotel. Like this is the story of Sofia Coppola, like as an artist, the story that she has to keep telling over and over again. And I remember when Duncan Jones started out and his first movie was Moon, it was like, these are like these kids of people who like spent their childhoods hiding in hotel rooms. And so they totally get this idea of like, yes, I'm in this beautiful, luxurious space, but I cannot leave it.
Yeah. If you too are stuck someplace and you don't know what to do with yourself, may I suggest the delicious non-alcoholic beer from Athletic Brewing Company. It's fall, so they're doing the Dark and Gourdy. It's pumpkiny and it's spicy, but they also have a delicious IPA and a delicious golden that I like a lot. So we've got a deal with them down below. There's a link. The code is Breakfast All Day in all caps, and you get 10% off your order if you order at least $50 worth of the non-alcoholic athletic beer. Your shipping is free. Now's the time. It's football season. Enjoy. There's a moment in this film that loses me because the whole thing is from Priscilla's perspective. And all of a sudden we are seeing things that she couldn't have seen. Like there's a scene in a hotel room with Elvis that she couldn't have seen. There's a scene on stage from like behind Elvis, like showing him silhouetted with like the stage lights hitting him with the crowd in front of him, like things that she wasn't there for. And that kind of confused me and it felt disjointed and it sort of lost me in terms of the tone all of a sudden. Like why is she showing us this, rather than the feeling of being trapped and the increasing pressure at home? I don't know. That confused me if that was a part of it. And then it just sort of ends. Like I have questions about what we see at the very, very end. It's confusing to me. Anyway, I'm just going to say that.
Sure, no, that's fair. And I mean, I will say they didn't take me out in the moment. So I think I probably took it as an understanding of like, here's a thing that she knows is going on or that she knows about him, that while she's stuck doing this, that he's out doing that, and usually that kind of thing, it immediately like jars me out of something. But I guess I was so carried along by the rest of it that I frankly didn't notice. So
it shatters that bubble for me.
Okay.
Because she's so trapped in that bubble that to all of a sudden see things that she couldn't have seen. I'm like, why? What? Where? Also, at the very, very end, I was a little concerned, like, where is Lisa Marie? When you guys see it, you might also wonder, why is Lisa Marie not here in this moment? Because she's a little girl at this point.
I'm assuming they had nannies, I don't know.
Anyway, I don't want to spoil anything, but what happens in that moment you think that Lisa Marie would be there for is my point. Maybe as a mom, I thought, what are you doing? Why is your kid not here? Anyway,
Fair enough.
So that kind of bugged me, but I like so much about it. And Cailee Spaeny is just going to be a star.
I hope that this movie does for her what Elvis did for Austin Butler in terms of like, hey, you don't know this name yet, but boy, are you gonna,
What's your number?
I give it a 9. I was entranced by it. I thought it was really brilliant. And, and here's the thing. If it's not true, it's still brilliantly told,
We are hearing from lots of Elvis fans who think perhaps this is not true.
I know we are. And look, as my dad would say, si non è vero è buon trovato. It's like, if it's not true, it's a good story. So, again, I don't think this movie demonizes Elvis. And I do think that it kind of, it in a lot of ways, Priscilla's story is the story of many women who weren't allowed to work and who were expected to sit around and wait for their man to come home no matter how long he was gone, And so I think it exists beyond just this one specific story.
And she's literally the little woman because she's very petite and he is giant. Like, I think those sizes are exaggerated here intentionally. I will say, gosh, like a 7, because it's so well made and everyone is so good in it. I really love Sofia Coppola's work and wanted to love this and didn't, but really liked a lot about it. So Priscilla is in theaters, limited release this weekend. It's going to be going wider November 3rd. Do you want to see it? Let us know. Check it out.